I'm going to teach you everything you need to know for the new DayZ map, Sakhal, back again with over 100 of the best tips and tricks, from the most important and essential tips to some of the most unique and surprising tricks, and I guarantee you won't know all of these. In fact, I'm so confident I want to challenge you to like the video now, and if by the end of the video you haven't learned anything new, you can always remove it. I think that's pretty fair because I'm about to blow your mind with these tips. A handmade torch is one of the best items early game as it allows you to move while maintaining your heat buff. You can craft a handmade torch with one stick and rag. You can then upgrade the torch by adding fat or gasoline. This will make it last longer, allowing you to keep that ever so important heat buff. The heat buff is overpowered as it gives you immunity from the cold while active. You could obtain a heat buff by sitting by a heat source. The heat buff is represented by this icon in the bottom right and can stack up to 3. The better the insulation of your clothes, the longer it takes for the heat buff to go down. Our next tip is how to host your very own DayZ Frostline server with today's sponsor Nitrado. Available for PC, Xbox or PlayStation. Simply purchase the plan that best suits you, choose to host your server in one of 9 locations across the globe for the best connection, and then head to base settings where you can set a server name, description and a password if you wish. Under mission, you can select either Chernarus, Livonia or in our case Sakhal so that we can play the new Frostline DLC with an additional range of settings to customize your server to your liking. You can even add mods to personalize your experience. Once you've saved your changes and started your server, you'll be able to access it via the in-game server browser under the community tab. This is a perfect solution for how you can play DayZ with your friends on the new map at your own pace. Struggling to find chickens on Sakhal? Well, I bet you didn't know that you can cut up the new downed jacket into feathers. The best way to get a start on Sakhal is to find the locked briefcases on dead frozen scientists which spawn on the roads around the volcano. You can see these spawns on I Survive. You'll need to find a scientist key to unlock these containers. These are found in these portable laboratory containers at this military base and at the base of the volcano. Inside the briefcase you can find supplies including 2 filtering bottles, tetracycline pills, chelating tablets, an ice axe, a GPS receiver, the glow plug and a 9-volt battery. The filtering bottle will slowly degrade. It can't be repaired but can be refilled roughly 15 times before it completely ruins. All water, including snow water, is safe to drink through the filtering bottle. The glow plug is needed to complete the bunker on Sakhal. Do note the glow plug can be found separately. I found one in this shed. To enter the bunker, head to this electrical building and place the glow plug, add gasoline and turn on the generator. You can then open the locked doors within the bunker. This is how you get some of the best gear on Sakhal, including MVGs, plate carriers, AKMs and SVDs. Do note you can only unlock one door at once. Pulling 2 levers will trip the power, so it's best to do this with a friend. If you ever find yourself lost, power lines will lead you to civilization. Alternatively, there's always nearly a point of interest on top of every mountain. Although, do remember the higher your elevation, the colder the environment. It is considerably warmer inside of buildings than outside. If you find yourself cold, you can stand by these hot springs to heat yourself up. Do note, standing directly in these will hurt you. This water is not safe to drink as it's infected with heavy metal poisoning. You also get this disease from eating or drinking snow, even if it has been boiled. This heavy metal disease will make your character begin to lose hearing and have blurred vision. It will also kill you within 40 minutes. To purify this water, combine the container with a chelating tablet. Alternatively, you can consume 1 tablet after to remove the illness. What you can do at hot springs is fill a container with hot water. This will act as an improvised heat pack. Alternatively, you can cook normal water until it's hot. Do note though that hot water will damage the plastic and filtering bottle, so it's best to use glass. If you head to this cave, located in the south of the map and hidden behind this tree, you can actually swim through the lake and it leads to another secret chamber. And if you have learned something new, all I ask is that you consider subscribing. I'm so close to my goal of 100k by the end of the year. Cheers. Not all insulation is created equally. All these helmets show as the best insulation. However, the Zimdrovka, Tanker and Patoshka hat all only provide 90% insulation, whereas the rest provide 100. For face masks, this means that the balaclava is better than the freehold version. For jackets, the bushlat jacket, firefighter jacket, hunting winter jacket and down jacket are the best. For backpacks, the mountain bag and ghillie suit are better than the tactical bag. And for gloves, the padded and ski gloves are better than the wool gloves. And then for shoes, the hunter boots are better than the military and hiking boots. This is the gear set you want to wear for the best insulation while being the most waterproof. Fishing is extremely OP in Frostline. You can make everything you need to fish with just a knife, even hooks, which can now be crafted from sticks. You don't need a worm to fish, but it will drastically increase your chances of catching a fish. Do note you can't gather worms from the snow. To gather worms more efficiently, you can use a shovel, which will gather 3 worms at once. Alternatively, the best item you can find is a jig. This can be used instead of a hook and will catch fish easily without worms. Remember, you have to yank in your rod every time you see or hear a splash. The percentage of fish you get per catch will depend on the hook you use. Filleting steelhead trout provides caviar. This can be eaten raw. If you find yourself with bloody hands from all that fishing, you can wash them in the snow. You can craft an improvised fish trap with a plastic bottle and a knife to catch shrimp. After cooking all that food, you can place the steaming hot food in a cooking pot of water or outside to cool it down quicker. You can even freeze meat outside so that it doesn't rot. Remember, food drains quicker when you're cold, so keep warm. Killing zombies are one of the easiest ways to get food on Sakhal. You can defrost frozen food quicker on the cooking slots of a fire rather than placed on the ground around it. There are no wells on Sakhal. Instead, you must locate and find these springs. This water is totally fine to drink. To easily find one of these, follow the main ring road until you come across a dirt path. Follow this until you come across a hiking trail, and then there's usually a spring located at the end of these. It's best to crawl into these to drink. You won't get wet and it will add extra protection. It even keeps you a little bit warmer. If you happen to find an in-game map, these are marked by these blue squiggly lines, although you can always use the online I Survive map. Placing warm items such as cooked food in your inventory will make you warmer, and eating warm food will have the same effect. And remember that animal and human meat is still warm after skinning them. The same can be said for cold items, which will lower your temperature. The items within your inventory will slowly become room temperature. You can use this to defrost frozen items within your inventory. Sitting in a car or a boat will bring you from blue cold to white as long as it's running. If you enter a car or boat with a heat buff, it won't degrade for the entire time it's running. Early game, a knife is one of the best items you can have, but inventory space is limited, so consider making an improvised belt out of rope to hold a spare knife. I personally like to stock up on small stones as they only take up 1 slot in your inventory and can be crafted into a knife by looking at a rock at a moment's notice. Fire stations are overpowered early game. Firefighter uniform is some of the best insulation and most waterproof items you can find in the game. These are the 4 tier zones of loot for Sakhal. You can only find eastern loot on Sakhal unless you find these washed up containers. These containers spawn on the islands surrounding the mainland. The best island to head to is this one in the bottom right, as it has 34 container spawns, the most of any island. Best way to get to these islands are by boat. Remember, boats spawn along the coast and only need a spark plug and gasoline to operate. When driving a boat, it is quicker to drive out and around the ice sheets than to try to navigate through them. Remember to keep all your gear repaired. The clothing's wear value will affect how much insulation it provides. Remember, waterproof gear can be just as important as high insulation, as wet gear lowers the insulation value. And snow, while not as bad as rain, will also make your gear wet. Dropping your gear around a fireplace will dry it quicker than wearing it by the fireplace. Remember, you can take some items off and bring them out to speed up this process. Matches won't work when wet, so keep them in pouches to stop them getting damp. You can boil food in contaminated water. This will increase the hydration value that the food gives you without making you sick. If you cure the common cold or influenza with a tet or vitamin, this will give you temporary immunity from catching it again. You can get salmonella from eating wolf or bear meat even if it's cooked. But if you eat a vitamin just before consuming it, you should be fine. Having said this, you can eat the fat from wolves and bears with no problems. Spawned containers do not have heavy metal poisoning but may have cholera, so once boiled are safe to drink. Do note though, you'll have to wait for it to cool down again, as drinking or eating scorching food will damage your character. Codeine will suppress the cough of a common cold. While it won't silence influenza or pneumonia, it will make the cough less frequent. You can prevent getting a common cold by immediately making a fire as soon as your heat drops a light blue. Trust me, this is one of the deadliest diseases in the game. The sooner you prevent this, the better. It can be treated with tetracycline pills or by having high immunity. Remember, you can always boost your immunity with vitamins. If you kill a wolf without a headshot, you can skin it and get a headdress. This item is waterproof and provides high insulation. Do note though that you can't wear face items such as gas masks and NVGs with the headdress. Crashed police cars spawn along the roads of Sakhal and can be a great way to get a gun early game. An improvised face mask, eye patch, hat and gloves are better than nothing, all providing 10% insulation each. Craft these out of rags which you get from cutting up clothes. And finally, walking into the volcano will kill you. And that's everything for today's video. What tip surprised you the most? And if you enjoyed this video, you'll probably like this one.